What's up, Fanbase Finance family? Let's talk about what moved the money this week for the business and finance news update. Number one, which is the big one from this week, the Federal Reserve met this week and they decided to lower the Fed funds rate by 25 basis points. So now the Fed funds rate is between 4% and 4.25%. And signal it's watching jobs a little bit closely now. Really, what it means is borrowing costs, of course, are going to shift down a little bit. So it eased the pressure on credit cards, small business lines of credit that are variable, some auto loans, and then mortgages may catch up as it's tied to the 10-year treasury. But it's all contingent upon if inflation continues to cooperate. Number two, shoppers are still showing up. So retail sales rose 0.6% in August. Some of that is prices, but consumers also kept dining out and kept buying online. Of course, this is good for Main Street revenue in the fall, but margins are tighter if your costs don't cool, right? For those of you that are business owners. Number three, labor market claims fell, but hiring is soft. So initial jobless claims fell to 231,000 after last week's jump. Some of that prior surge was data quirks and issues that they had, but the overall job market has cooled down. So job searches may take longer. People are starting to report that. Small employers could be choosier on pay and on skills. Number four, CPI up 2.9% year over year. Producer prices dipped. So consumer inflation ran 2.9% year over year in August. The core that they were predicting was 3.1%. Producer prices fell 0.1% month over month, hinting some pipeline relief. So this matters because if input costs keep easing, fall and winter promotions get easier to run without wrecking margins. So as you start getting towards the holiday season, particularly retailers and other businesses that fall in line with retail, it'll be interesting to see what they do from a pricing and offer perspective. Number five, housing. So building cool, mortgages ease. So housing starts fell 8.5% in August, single families down 7%. Meanwhile, the 30-year mortgage rates dropped to 6.35% last week, and refi apps surged 60% as owners pounce. So people who had bought in recent years, right, when rates were a little bit higher, are now looking to refinance. And so mortgage lenders are seeing that surge in people coming in with applications. So if you were quoted a rate in July or August, requote now. Even an eighth to a quarter point matters over 30 years. It does, but again, as I've said, there's a better way to do this. Number six, everyday cost. Gas is nearing $3.20. So the AAA national average for gasoline sits around $3.20 a gallon. So it's a little change week over week from last week. So we'll continue to keep our eyes there. Main Street polls, optimism is up, sentiment is down. So the NFIB, small business optimism, ticked up again in August, with sales expectations improving and uncertainty easing a little bit, right? But consumer sentiment fell to 55.4% in September's preliminary survey. That's the lowest since May. So as folks worry about jobs and about prices. Owners may feel slightly better, however, consumers are feeling a little bit worse. So budget for promos and value, again, as we head towards the holidays. And then number eight, labor and corporate headlines that you're going to feel. So UAWGE Aerospace, I talked about this last week, reached a tentative deal after a 2-week strike. So the vote is already scheduled. Kroger lifted its outlook as shoppers lean into food at home value. A Kentucky judge upheld the Fed's 21% cap on debit swipe fees, while another court had knocked it earlier. So the legal split continues. And then Capital One sued the FDIC over part of the special assessment tied to the 2023 bank failures. Expect more noise around bank fee pass-throughs, right? Long overdue. So that's how the money moved this week. Let's get back to the conversation here in the room. Shout out to everybody who is participating in the conversation. All of you that are in the audience, always appreciate your support of Fanbase Finance. Peace.